Hey everyone, Gavin Lance Top here. I'm here with Kyle all the way from Toronto. We're just about completed his Man Alive Experience mentorship. I've observed a great man, just an amazing man, a great father, a great businessman, works in finance. Only 64 now, at least 10 years off your prime, mate. Mate, welcome. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Gavin. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Everyone, leave this bloke a great comment. He always makes me smile. Always makes me laugh. I love it. But mate, what was life
And you do
like?
the same for me too, buddy. I gotta.
Good man. But mate, tell us, what was life like before the Man Alive Experience?
Well, for me, 2022 was a big year, Gavin. I mean, so kind of coming into the year, I had been in a relationship. I've been a little bit of a preamble. I've been divorced. About 11 years prior to that, I'd been in a relationship through the pandemic. My partner lost her brother-in-law to start 2022.
Yes.
I'd been dealing with my failing father for quite a period of time leading up through the pandemic. And I basically moved moved my life basically a block from my mom and dad in order to be there, to be my parents' caregiver, if you will.
Yeah.
My dad, which was a huge influence and a man that I looked up to tremendously. I watched his slow demise. He had a number of health issues, but he ended up with dementia.
Yeah.
And I lost my father in May of that year. My relationship ended a couple of months later. And so basically I found myself really at a crossroads, Gavin. I mean, life felt it didn't feel that good. That at the end of 22, a lot had gone on, a lot of pain, a lot of emotion. Trying to process the loss of a man that was a huge factor for me in my life, and a man I looked up to tremendously. To watch that slow withering in dementia was, to say it was tough would be an understatement.
Yeah.
I felt a little lost.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I kind of felt alone, and just was just at a point where I needed something to get my mojo back and really to just to reinvigorate something after spending what was really a tough year for me.
Yeah, and I think, mate, because people, look at you. I would, imagine back in Toronto, but I know, particularly, doing the programming, mate, you've had some great successes in business and in past years and in different areas. Man, yeah. I love your house at the lake. I thought, man, this guy is amazing. Yeah. What a life, yeah. but every man's got something going on.
Yeah, and you raised a good point, because and I know some of the other men share a similar sort of perspective, in that I've been very blessed by having a successful business life.
Yeah.
I've been at it now for over 41 years.
Yeah.
I've carried the ball. It's my own business. I've been self-employed my whole life. And yeah, by outward appearances, I've got the cars, I've got the nice roof over my head, I've got money in the bank now, and I didn't come here, at a point at this stage of my journey trying to, build that security. I technically have that.
Yeah.
But you realize sometimes at a point later in life that I've been driven to be a good provider. I am a good businessman, but the success that I've achieved on that side of my life, what isn't matched by the personal side.
Yeah.
You know, going through a failed marriage, you know, making decisions earlier in my life that weren't well thought out, and some of the work we've done in Man Alive, you know, I didn't have a plan. Like
Yeah.
life kind of came to me. And you know, I've got the byproduct with some challenges with my adult kids post-divorce, and all of that has left me like, this is not where I thought I would be at this point. I would have I built my life around my family, and thinking that was my focus and my drive. And so that, you know, that was that part, I feel, is, you know, didn't live up to the other side. And that, you know, I think a lot of men experience that. You know, I realized through this work that a balance in life, and my focus now is all on the other things in life. It's not about the money for me. You know, and you and I have shared some of these stories, but I certainly, you know, one of the other factors that was influencing me was that coming into this point in life, which in my world is a typical point where we retire and do something else. And you know, I talked about that at the early part of the journey. I struggled with that because a lot of my friends, that's the constant question I was hearing. When am I retiring? What are you going to do next? What, you know, out of this work, I've realized a lot, but reestablishing that what I built for the better part of 40 years was indeed what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah, that's amazing, you know, isn't it?
I've had a phenomenal amount of success advising hundreds of families on how to build their wealth. And the relationships and the success I've had on that journey is what gets me out of bed still.
And I suppose, like what we talk about, and I don't want to jump ahead here, but it's about the things that money can't buy, is where the value is.
And unfortunately, if you don't get exposed to that, you know, you get wrapped up in things like, you know, it's easy for me. It was easy for me to, you know, when the marriage is failing and you've got trouble, to focus on what you're good at. And I've told you this, I wish, so not a word I like using, but I would have loved to have been exposed to this a lot earlier.
Well, you know, mate, you know, the good thing is, I've said this to you, the good thing you got it while you're young.
I know that. You know, it's never too late. I now look forward with a different perspective.
And on that, mate, can I butt in there? Like, you know, was there something, I mean, if you can remember, was there something that was said or you heard or you read that got you started? What was the thing that you thought, this is it?
I thought about that, Gavin, and you know, it's not so much like, I believe, and this year has shown me in so many ways that the universe shows you what you need when you need it. And you know, like I go, like, why did Gavin's book appear right at that point? You know, and then why did I even look at it? I you know, but I did. And I had a lot of skepticism because I am at that age in life where things over the internet, people you can't, you know, shake their hand, you know, I go, you know, I'm not so sure about that. That's foreign to me. But at the end of the day, you know what? I read the book. What really resonated with me, not, you know, the book certainly touched some important points, because yes, the questions are questions I had never been asked. And so much of the Man Alive experience, in all honesty, has raised words I'd never heard, that I had never even contemplated, like a paradigm. I'll be honest with you. that word never entered into my thinking.
Yeah.
And you know, but the list goes on.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was I think when you called me and we
Yeah.
had an initial interview, for some reason I went, why not? Like I feel, you're kind of at rock bottom in a way.
Yeah.
And I said, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
This, I mean, it really just was, I think it just talked to whatever was in me that was searching for some answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus, it's amazing, mate. I'm just loving listening to you, because you're so successful. Like, you had probably one of the most successful rock bottoms I've ever seen.
It's kind of like an enigma, like, and that's, I often sit back and like, I'm with my mother tonight and we're talking about, my son, which is, as you know, a challenge for me. And some things in life are like,
Yeah.
I search for answers that maybe
Yeah.
aren't there. And,
Yeah.
I continue, to try and improve and I now, and I've seen tremendous improvement in the relationship front and
Yeah.
doesn't move the needle overnight, but I can see the seeds of the work starting to bear fruit. It's been a fascinating peeling back the layers, and quite frankly, just looking at myself really for the first time. And at 64 years of age, it sounds almost crazy. I think I'm like a lot of men. I was taught to do things certain way, bury my emotions, work hard, be a good provider for your family, and things will work out. No one kind of, no one showed me where your gaps are. No one ever discusses, frankly, like we do in this group, the issues that impact men.
Yeah.
I'm the classic lone wolf. I buried my head in the sand, go along with the crowd, follow the crowd, try and, fit in, whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, I think it's really just avoidance. It has been the Western way. Self-medicate, do whatever to turn it off, and just hope it all works out. And you know what? It doesn't. So for me, this has been an opportunity to learn about myself that I had never been exposed to.
I suppose, mate, just what would you say was, I suppose, a bit of a highlight throughout the 12 months, or maybe a couple of them? Well, like with the Zoom calls, with the work we do in Kajabi, the questions, the other men, the accountability groups. What's been a bit of a standout?
I've thought about that, and I really do think, for me, I can't say it is definitely one. Like, I think they're all important. I think of the accountability group, particularly at the beginning that I was in, it was critical to making you feel like you belong. So, the accountability group part has been huge. Actually, it's all been. The Zoom calls for me were a great way to be part of this community of men that, the Zoom calls expose you to the stories, what's going on out there with the other men. And that is a huge part of this, because empathy and knowing you're not alone, and knowing that your story, someone else has got one that makes yours look pretty tame in comparison. And that's been fantastic. The Kajabi work is obviously critical to do the self-analysis, the deep dive into some of these subjects, which, quite frankly, aren't that easy. So it's for me, I think it's all intertwined, Gav, and I don't go, oh, if it wasn't for this, the program itself is so well designed, and I gotta say, it's all important, at least from where I sit.
yeah, yeah,
You know, the rite of passage, obviously,
yeah.
you know, we could talk about that because, you know, that was hard for me. Um, uh, uh, you know, I hadn't traveled in over 30
But
years
yeah,
to what I'll call the farthest reaches of the planet.
yeah. Um,
I was exceedingly concerned about doing that.
I know. I gotta tell you, friends that are watching, leave these folks some encouragement in the comment. But man, I remember a couple of the conversations we had.
Yeah.
You ringing me up, trying to convince me that you couldn't come.
Right, right.
But mate,
Well,
what a testimony to your character, mate. That I guess you trusted me. You
yeah.
trusted the process. To come over 24 hours to come over the other side of the world was just massive, mate.
You know what? I'm proud of myself because
Yeah,
one of the words we you know that's important in this program, courage. You know,
yeah,
you don't. I don't know. It took a lot to muster that up.
yep,
Um, I can't say enough about that experience
yeah,
because it is a game changer.
yeah,
And yes, you know, to do something like that and to, you know, to push quite frankly, for me, it was also just realizing, because I've got a lot of friends failing around me that can't do anything anymore. And I realize being able to, you know, still be physical, be active, be a man is
yeah,
still a huge part of my DNA.
yeah,
And to get over to the Gold Coast, I think if I wasn't the oldest guy, I had to be close,
yeah, yeah,
be amongst the men physically, and to experience that whole, you know, test
yeah.
really was a game changer. Yeah,
Well, I got to tell you, mate, you surprised me. I mean, watching you, for you guys that are watching, imagine this guy and a group of other men blindfolded, pull the blindfold off, throw him in the boxing ring, say, "You're on. Now's the test."
yeah, and that
Move the way you did from not boxing before was just, man, you're a natural. I actually looked at photos afterwards. I said to you, I thought you were somebody else. I thought you were like a 40-year-old.
yeah, yeah. Thank you,
You-
thank you.
Man,
Thank
you
you.
had a combination from a wild man to just, it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was amazing. And you know, you brought up the blindfold. I gotta say, being led down the path of the unknown, I did have an inkling what we were in store for. But again, that was an amazing, just, you know, hey, you gotta have faith. You
Yeah,
don't know what's coming next, and just,
yeah,
you know, go for it. It was tremendous, you know,
yeah.
not something, you know, because, you know, like I go, what guy at 64 goes, I want to get in the ring and box for the first time in my life? It's not, you know, it wasn't something I was thinking about, but, you know, I'm glad I did it. Let's put it that way, because
And
it showed me.
you passed the test. You did it, man. You stepped up,
Thank
you
you.
stepped
Thank you.
up. And you inspired all the men.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I think that's what I've learned a bit in this is, you know what, I do like that. I mean, I feel it. I feel easier, you know, talking to someone else about their situation than talking about my own. Let's
Yeah,
put it that
yeah,
way.
yeah,
But no, it was great, and I, you know, I've met so many amazing men as part of this,
yeah,
and you know, it really opened the door to a new way of thinking. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, mate. That's awesome. And there's going to be men that are going to say, "Oh, I do that, but I'm too old."
Well,
I could do that, but I'm too far away. Or I'd love to, but, well, I mean, what would you say to those men?
well, listen, I can tell you that most of us experience that, and it is easy to procrastinate.
Yeah,
I still have to catch myself,
yeah,
you know, and still remind myself, do it,
yeah,
or just say yes, or
yeah.
just, even though the gut's turning and saying, you know what, it'd be easier to say, another day.
Yeah,
Let's put that off for now.
yeah,
I would say that that is what holds all of us back,
yeah,
and it is not easy to face those questions, to face that uncertainty, and in some cases even anxiety and fear. But I've discovered that only when you do that do you really find out what you're made of, number one, who you really are, and it's what builds that strength to
yeah.
face the inevitable challenges that we're going to face.
Mate, awesome, mate. Well done. So proud of you. Just, mate, thank you for who you are. You know what you contribute. It's just, man, you just got so much value to give others, mate. Just thanks for coming on today. This is awesome. And because I know you didn't want to do it.
Well, again, you know what? You and I have been talking about it, and like, you know, yeah, I can find a million reasons to do something else. Thank you. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done for me, because without it, I would not be where I am today. And I'm looking forward with a new sense of confidence, a sense of, quite frankly, you know, the excitement can still grow, but I'm, you know, like, you know, one of the things we talked about, like, I'm just talking about, you know, putting some adventure together once I'm done this program at the end of this year. It's a good time for me. You know, you and I, you know, a little bit about my story. I got another test this summer, you know, dealing with my daughter, and that has been you know, what I've learned in this has helped me tremendously in that. And my relationship with her has never been better.
Yeah,
And
wow, that's awesome.
you know, and yeah, I just, you know, I'm dying to go and just, you know, digest. It's been an amazing year for me. And I've got a few places that have come up recently, including Sardinia, my friend. And tomorrow I'm going to share this with you. I'm meeting a guy who just got back from there.
There you go. Opportunities are everywhere.
So looking to, you know, just I can now, I'm now more excited about what lies ahead, Gavin. Yeah.
You're a different man than what you were 11, 12 months ago, mate. It's amazing.
Well, thanks to you and all the great men in this program. Yeah, it's been something that, you know, it's funny. You think about the commitment at the beginning. I've never thought about that for a second, much after the commitment, because, you know, it is not about the money. A lot of people will define it as you know, it's a big commitment. Well, there's no bigger commitment than you can make than to yourself.
That's right.
And that's the lesson in this is, you know, I've always thought of everyone else, and I thought about me last. And so this has been tremendous to finally focus on me and what's important and where I'm going and how do I make the journey the happiest, most fulfilling possible.
Come on, mate. Awesome. So good. So, hey, listen, you're watching this. If you've got some value or if you were inspired, leave us a comment and let Kyle know. So, hey, thanks very much, mate. Over and out.